take you inside Seattle's plan to stop Initiative 976 in court. And good evening, I'm Monique McLaughlin.
I'm Steve Rabel. Voters approved limiting car tabs to $30, but Seattle's mayor says that thwarts the will of voters who want to tax themselves. We have team coverage and begin with KIRO 7's Graham Johnson live in downtown.
And Graham, Initiative 976, it won in most of the state, but it lost in King County.
And Monique, that is why King County and Seattle officials plan to file a lawsuit next week to block it, they hope, from taking effect. We are on 3rd Avenue where people today are grabbing buses for the commute home. Seattle car owners pay an additional $80 for license tabs to cover things like extra bus service. Now that's at risk.
There are immediate and irreparable injuries to our city.
Mayor Jenny Durkan says Seattle will fight back on Initiative 976, going to court to preserve the right of city voters to tax themselves.
I-976 is not only unfair, it is not only unwise, it is unconstitutional.
Seattle's Transportation Benefit District brings in $32 million a year from car tabs. $8 million goes to basic services, $24 million goes to transit, including reduced fares for low-income residents and free ORCA cards for high school students.
Those ORCA passes are lifelines for them.
City Attorney Pete Holmes says he won't detail the legal case before it's filed next week, but he says lawyers are developing 3 or 4 strategies, including an argument that sponsor Tim Eyman's initiative violates the state law against measures covering more than one subject.
Yes! I love you!
Had Mr. Eyman developed an initiative that was constitutional, I wouldn't be here today.
Do you feel that this initiative is legally bulletproof?
Legally bulletproof. I love that one. You should only do initiatives that you're 1,000% certain that it'll be upheld. We're dealing with probably the most political Supreme Court we've ever had. And so therefore, all you can do is do your best.
Eyman tells me he made changes to the parts of his previous car tab initiatives that were struck down in court. The city and county want a hearing before a judge as quickly as possible because Initiative 976 is set to take effect December 5th. Live downtown, Graham Johnson, KIRO 7 News.
And Initiative sponsor Tim Eyman planned to confront the mayor, but he got confronted instead. And KIRO 7's Essex Porter is live at City Hall with that. Essex?
You know, every time Tim Eyman takes $30 car tabs to the ballot box, it wins, except in Seattle. So what we saw from Eyman today is what his supporters love about him and what his opponents loathe.
Pete and Jenny were really nice letting me go first, so I just want to thank them in advance for what they've been allowing me to do.
Tim Eyman held his own news conference in Mayor Jenny Durkan's lobby. His started 15 minutes before Durkan and City Attorney Pete Holmes announced their lawsuit against Eyman's successful $30 car tab initiative. Eyman had planned to go to the mayor's newser, but was stopped cold by the mayor's chief of staff.
You have your media credentials?
I'm not part of the media.
Then this is for media only right now.
But this is a public building, right?
It's a public lobby.
It's a public building. I'm going in.
No, sir?
This is a public building.
Invitation only.
Instead, Tim Eyman found himself confronted by advocates for the disabled who rely on safe streets and transit paid for by car tab taxes.
I just wanted to look at you eye to eye. And
I was one of the people that voted for the initiative. I absolutely did.
You're also one of the people who put the initiative on the ballot, Tim. This would not be happening if you hadn't collected those signatures and you hadn't put this on the ballot.
They confronted Eyman with their pain.
This is going to, the harm that this does.
It is harm. It is literal harm for me and other folks who are transit dependent. It's disabled folks, it's low-income folks, it's folks of color. It's our immigrant communities. We're the folks who are suffering with this, and I want you to answer for that.
But you're not going to have to worry about it. You have a mayor who's suing the voters because she didn't like the outcome of the election.
Dare you look her in the face and say that to her?
Now, however the lawsuit turns out, this could be Tim Eyman's last campaign. The Attorney General's office is suing him, and if they win, the penalty they want is for him never to be able to be involved in a campaign in the leadership role again. Reporting live in Seattle, Essex Porter, KIRO 7 News.
All right, Essex, yes, if this sounds familiar, I-976 is Tim Eyman's 7th attempt since 1998 at imposing a $30 limit on car tabs. His first success was in 1999, and that was I-695. That repealed the state's motor vehicle excise tax. That measure was later ruled unconstitutional, but the legislature voted in many of the elements causing funding problems for the state ferry system. In 2002, voters approved another Eyman car tab measure, I-776, which went after Sound Transit fees. Again, the courts overturned that measure, first in King County, then by the state Supreme Court.
Now to new numbers in Seattle City Council race, and incumbent Shama Sawant is making significant gains on her challenger. She is now just about 700 votes behind Egan Orion. Now in Council District 7, Andrew Lewis has moved into the lead with 50% of the vote compared to Jim Pugel's 49%. Just a little over 300 votes separate them. We are updating the election numbers as they're released, and you can see detailed results for races right now by selecting election results on the KIRO 7 News app.